Hey, what's going on, guys? Let's do this problem right here. This question is asking to find out whether this expression converges or diverges. In order to do this, we have to take the limit. But whenever we have negative infinity to infinity, we have to choose a midpoint. You can choose any number, but it's better if you choose 0 because it will make everything easier. The calculation is easier, right? So let's choose our midpoint as 0. So if I choose midpoint as 0, this is going to be negative infinity to 0 x e power minus x square dx plus 0 to infinity x e power minus x square dx. Now we have separated this one into two parts, but before we go ahead and solve this one, it's better to take the integration of this one first. To do the integration, I have to avoid these limits, so let's take the integration without these limits. So this is going to be x e power minus x square dx, and if you notice we have the derivative outside, so we can do the u substitution right here. If I take u as negative x square, du is going to be equivalent to negative 2x dx, right? Now here we can replace this negative x square with u, but we have to do something about this x dx. So instead of this x dx, we can plug. So if I want to arrange this one in terms of x dx, I have to bring this negative 2 to the other side. So this is going to be du over negative 2 is equivalent to x dx. Now we can go ahead and write everything in terms of u. So this is going to be e power u. I replaced negative x square with u, and instead of x dx, we have to replace this du by negative 2. So let's put the du right here. Since 1 over negative 2 is constant, I can move that one to the front. So this is going to be in front, negative 1 over 2. Now if you integrate e power u, that's going to give us e power u. So this is going to be minus half e power u plus constant. Now our u value is negative x square, so we have to replace that one. So this is going to be negative half e power minus x square plus constant. So this is our integration. So let's keep this one right here, and now let's go ahead and solve this one. So this one, in order for this expression to be convergence, the both of them has to be convergence. If one of them divergence, then we can go ahead and say this is divergence, right? But let's see whether this convergence or divergence. To find that one, we can do it individually. So let's take this part first and see whether that limit converges or diverges. If I take the limit of this one, limit, so wherever we have t, wherever we have infinity, we have to replace that one with t. So let's say t approaches negative infinity. So here we are going to have t to 0. Then we have x e power minus x square dx, right? And we know the integration already, we found out right here. So we, instead of integrate this one, we can replace this one with this. So this is going to be limit t approaches infinity, and the limit, integration is going to be negative half e power minus x square. That's the limit is t to 0. So we are going to put t to 0 right here. Now let's apply these values. First we are going to have minus half e power minus 0 square, that's going to be 0, right? Then minus, and we already have a minus right here, so this is going to make it this one plus. So minus minus plus, then we are going to have half e power negative t square, right? Now let's go ahead and apply our limit. This is going to be just 1. E power 0 is 1. 1 times negative half is going to be negative half. And e power negative infinity, if you apply infinity for t value, that's going to be negative infinity. And if you know that, notice that when we have e power negative infinity, that is same as 1 over e infinity, e power infinity, right? E power infinity is infinity. So 1 over infinity is going to be 0. So whenever you have negative infinity, that's 0. So if this is 0, this whole thing is going to be 0. So this is half, negative half plus 0, and that's going to give us negative half right here. Now let's look at this part right here. So we have done this part. Now let's do the other part. So this is going to be limit t approaches infinity. This is positive infinity, right? So this should be negative infinity right here. Negative infinity, negative, negative, right? Because whatever the infinity we have, that's the one we are going to plug right here. This is positive infinity, and integral 0 to infinity x e power minus x square dx. Now instead of doing the integration, we can replace, we already found the integration right here, so we can replace. This is going to be limit t approaches infinity, negative half e power negative x square, that is going from 0, so now I have to replace t right here, right? So this should be t. So 0 to t, right? Now let's simplify this one. Now if I plug t right here, this is going to be limit t approaches infinity. We are going to have negative half e power minus t square, minus, that's going to make plus again, and then we are going to have half e power minus 0 square, that's going to be 0, so e power 0. Now let's simplify this one. Again, if you apply negative infinity right here, this is going to be 0, right? Negative power t square, that's going to be negative infinity, so this is going to be 0. Negative half times 0, that's going to be 0 right here. And half time e power 0 is 1, so this is going to be just half. So this is positive half. So both of them are converges, right? Now you can go ahead and say convergence, but if we add them together, that's also going to be 0, because we know that negative half plus half, that's a 0, and that's a finite number. So since we have finite number, this is convergence. So we can say this expression is convergence. So that's going to be our final answer. I hope you guys find this video helpful. See you next time.